Winning comes in all shapes and sizes. It's different for everyone. One thing is certain. Every day there's an opportunity for a win. Just like scratchers from the Virginia Lottery. Everyday grab and go. Everyday giftable. Everyday fun. It's where anticipation meets instant gratification. Like the new Virginia Lottery Scratcher High Roller Blackjack with a chance to win up to 10 times your prize. Now, that's an everyday win. Drive to a retailer near you. Odds of winning any prize, 1 in 4.16.
Wow. First word that comes to mind, wow. But you know, in the way it is in the hobby today, we really shouldn't be as surprised as we all are. And it's big business. We see what's happening with college sports and the NIL. Loyalties are out the door for the 2 cents they are worth. It's all about the Benjamins, as rappers like to say. You know, this was not going to be this week's Hobby Quick Hits. I was going to do the PWCC and eBay episode, and guess what? You're not off the hook, PWCC. That will be next Monday. But obviously, the Topps Fanatics deal trumps that, and I wanted to, turn the mic on and do this episode when it's fresh in my mind. I didn't want to wait a week. Now, the risk of doing this sooner is, more developments could come. So I could wait a week and kind of see what those developments are, but I wanted to get this out there ASAP, and then we can push back the PWCC episode to the following Monday. Well, a lot to cover here, and but before we do that, let's hear from our great sponsor, Mojo Breaks. Hey folks, wanted to tell you about the best place to get some of your sealed sports card wax products. Great selection and some of the lowest prices on the web. MojoBreakShop.com is that place. Whether it's a box or a whole case, they're your guys, and they ship around the world right to your door. The Mojo Break name is one of the most trusted in the hobby. From sports cards to Pokemon, their selection can't be beat. They offer daily deals and pre-orders. Who won first place at this year's Topps Rip Party? None other than Mojo Break. Their prices are already great, but here's a way to save even more money. Use the code QUICKHITS, that's QUICKHITS, for 10% off anything on MojoBreakShop.com. They also have a full-service card shop in Santa Clara, California. So if you're in the area, stop by. They're open 7 days a week, so check them out at MojoBreakShop.com. All right, I'm not even sure where to start unpacking this. Well, let's start by explaining the deal in detail, what we know so far. Some of you may not know all the particulars. I went and made sure to get them. So, the Fanatics deal is 10 times greater than any of the highest previous deals. If you ask me, I think that they overpaid when you think about it on that level. But to wrestle it away from a giant like Topps, I guess that's what you have to do. They will get the players license at the end of 2022. They will get the Major League Baseball license at the end of 2025. Also, the products they release when they get these licenses won't necessarily be called Fanatics. They have yet to announce what the product, what the brand name will be. They own the license, but they can name to brand anything they want to. Also, they get the Candy Digital, the official Major League Baseball NFT rights for you NFT folks. I'm not one of those, so I don't really care. If nothing changes, Topps will be left holding soccer and NHL stickers when it comes to major sports brands. Something tells me that won't be the case when the dust settles. We're going to talk about some of those scenarios on this very episode. Also, Fanatics will get the NBA players license in 2025. They will get the NFL players license in 2026. And many feel like the league licenses will be given to them as well. So you may have a Fanatics-owned card company producing 3 major sports: NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that's good. Whether that's the old man on the porch in me, I don't think that's good. And, everyone always talks about, right, maybe we'll get the day where you have multiple card companies like it used to be, right, doing the same sport. Upper Deck, Fleer, Score, Topps, Donruss. Never going to happen. I'll go on record and say never going to happen. Those are pipe dreams. And this is the current landscape of financial aspects of the industry, and I'm concerned a little bit. I'm not getting. I saw some people post on social media, I'm getting out of the hobby. I'm not collecting baseball no more. All sorts of doomsday. I'm definitely not. I'm going to be collecting cards, buying cards, selling cards. That's not going to change. This just doesn't feel right, right? Like, listen to what I'm going to say, right? When this news came down, right, it just didn't feel right. As crazy as that sounds, right? We don't have any personal skin in the game, really. Actually, I take that back. I guess I do a little bit. I bought the Muds SPAC offering, which will apparently turn into top stock. And it's funny, when this story broke, my DMs kind of lit up like a Christmas tree, because a lot of people knew I had bought that stock at a decent amount, and they're like, "What are you going to do? Are you going to sell it all? It's going to crash." And so when I got asked this question, my response initially was, I'm going to hold, right? Holding out hope that maybe there's some kind of secret agreement. Maybe, Topps is going to sell out to Fanatics. In other words, Fanatics will buy the majority stock purchase once the stock goes public, and get controllers, majority ownership of it. So all these thoughts went through my mind. So initially, when everyone was asking me, because they knew I had bought a decent amount of the shares, I said I'm going to hold. And I was. And then the following day, as we all saw, they announced that the plan to take Topps public was over. Mudrick and Topps dissolved their relationship, and Topps was going to remain a private company. And that changed the equation for me. And I immediately got on my E-Trade account and sold everything. I'm trying to think. It was probably $2.50 a share loss per share, but I had to get out before that number went too much lower. Like in cards or any kind of investment thing or money thing, right? If it's going to continue to go down, sometimes it's cut your losses, before they're too much. And so I sold all my shares. I saw a lot of other people posting on social media they were selling all theirs as well. And so sometimes you got to make that decision to cut your losses, get out. Is there any way these can go up? Sure, I'm sure there's a way. The fact that they're not going public sort of changes the equation. Let's be honest. Topps is not going to sit on their hands here. They're going to try something. We're going to talk about some things they might be able to do here to save a little face. It's never going to be exactly the same, but maybe a little bit face, stay viable in the sports card industry. So going back to when the news first broke, I'm not going to lie. I've been doing this a long time. It was stunning to me. It really was stunning. You always kind of just thought, Topps and baseball go together, man. It's like Oreos and milk, right? Peanut butter and jelly, whatever analogy you want to make. So on face value, when that news first broke, it knocked you off your feet. You're like, what? I read it 2 or 3 times. I'm like, I'm reading something wrong. There's wording in here. Maybe they got the Panini's player's license only type of deal. Like, what am I missing? And then, I read all the specs and on the deal and realized, no, this is the real deal. And then you say, man, how does Fanatics is a huge company in their own right. But they're not a card company, at least not yet, right? They're going to be most likely here. And, you say, well, how can a non-card company kind of do this? But here's, when you really dive and delve into this, it actually becomes a little more clearer. Fanatics already deals with individual players on a regular basis. They have exclusive contracts. They pay very handsomely, and they're very well liked by players in all the sports. All right, all the sports. This is why they're going to get all those players' player licensing for cards, and they're very well liked. They pay well, and they have that got their foot in the door, and now they barged in, and that's why this is a money game, regardless whether you like that fact or not. That's where the industry is. That's where the hobby is, right? What makes headlines, right? All these big dollar auctions, all these companies and acquisitions. And here, in a sense, this is an acquisition. And what did they acquire? They acquired exclusive rights licensing. They got it in some cases in memorabilia, with just recently with the Ohtani deal. And now they got it with the card licensing. And so it really, when you really take a step back, kind of look at it, it's not as shocking. I mean, it's still shocking, but it makes more sense after taking a deep breath and really looking at it. At least to me, and I think if you look at it like that, they're not an unknown. That's, I think, everyone kind of thinks, well, they never made cards before. They're an unknown. They're not an unknown. They work directly with players and Players Association already. They're a known commodity. This was, someone, I read somewhere someone blamed Topps for maybe just kind of doing what we did, right? Assume they're always going to have that league license, right? And getting complacent. And I'm not behind closed doors. I don't know if they're complacent. I don't know if they got lax. I can't answer that. I don't work for Topps. For what it's worth, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that Topps had no idea that Major League Baseball was even negotiating with someone else other than them, and that they found out almost in a similar way that the general public did. They were notified literally 2 to 3 hours before the public release statement. They were notified, meaning Topps, about 3 hours before we were. So it probably, if you think it was a shock to hobbyists, it probably was a shock. If that's true, think about the shock to Topps. and it's reported they didn't even realize that a deal was even being negotiated with anybody else. And then they hear this. And Michael Eisner was livid, according to this report from the Wall Street Journal, and called up Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, and they had a heated exchange over the phone. Now, again, this is all being reported. I can't say with certainty it's true, but most likely probably true. Michael Eisner's a shrewd businessman. If he felt like he was wronged or duped or fair play wasn't in order, he's going to do, sounds like something he would do or should do. And all reports are he is very beside himself. So, crazy stuff. If that's how that was handled, I think that shows you the cutthroatness of business world. Again, business world. But regardless whether they did or didn't get complacent, I don't know if it's complacency that got this deal done for Fanatics or money. They paid 10 times what the highest previous deal was. 10 times. Not 10 more dollars, not 10 more $1 million. Whatever that number was, 10 times that number. Multiply it by 10 times. So, where do we go from here? What can Topps do? Well, remember, name, image, likeness has really taken the forefront here. Topps is going to get into that in some form or fashion, right? While I said Fanatics probably gets those other league licenses after already getting the players' licensing, nothing's set in stone. They could try to put their money together and maybe still get those league licenses, but I got a feeling that loyalty is going to be to Fanatics, with them going to be holding the players' license already. Here's another option, and here's another theory I'll throw out there. But what if Fanatics, apparently money doesn't seem to be an issue for them. They just paid 10 times the previous record. What if Fanatics, pays and gets controlling interest of Topps and says, we own Topps now too, and we're gonna our license with the players and league, we're going to produce the Topps brand is under our ownership, and it's not going away, but we own it, and we're going to control it and do whatever we want to do. And that is, I'm not predicting it happens. I'm not even sure. I don't know if that's good or a bad thing. I guess it's good that if that was to occur, you'd still see those 5 letters on some baseball cards, TOPPS. But, that is still a potential possibility. Topps has not, at the time of this recording, has not issued any statement regarding this. I got to imagine they might be reeling in themselves, a little bit stunned, especially if you believe rumors that they've gotten a little complacent, kind of assuming that their licenses would just keep being extended. And maybe didn't see this coming. Here's another scenario. What about this? What if, let's say Fanatics doesn't buy Topps, not interested, whatever. What if they just sell, maybe by the year, 2 years, 3 years, the naming rights for their, in other words, they become a middleman. Like they buy the house and they rent the house to Topps, right? They say, you want to rent the house for 3 years and make baseball cards, you pay us this. I don't see that as the realm of the possibility. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not sure if that's legal. I'm not sure if the Players Association or Major League Baseball, in this case, would say, listen, if we wanted Topps to do that, we would have sold the rights to them. So they themselves might block that. But if they don't, what's to say Fanatics doesn't say to Topps, hey, this is what it costs to do your brands the next 3 years. You know, we own the house. You want to live in it? Pay us this amount. This is what the rent is, if you will. I know it's a little more complicated than I just made that out to sound like, but why not? Why, I don't know all the legal ramifications. I don't know if the Players Association or the league itself would balk at that. I have a feeling they might, unless all parties could get together and leave that room with an understanding this is good for everyone, or this is how it's going to go. But I'll throw that on the table. And so this is shattering, industry shattering news. This changes the landscape of the sports card hobby, because this is not affecting one sport, folks. It's affecting baseball, basketball, and the NFL. And the only company right now that I can see, you can correct me if you think I'm wrong, the only company that kind of came out sort of unscathed here is Upper Deck with their hockey license. That's not involved here whatsoever. So they're, at this point, who knows what's next, right? And so Panini's affected because Fanatics is getting the NBA players licensing and the NFL players licensing. And this is just, there's so many different angles to this story. I try to keep these episodes to 15 to 25 minutes, and we're getting in that vicinity, but it ain't going to be so much. I don't know how long we're going to go, but I'm not time limited in this. I want to really just talk about everything that comes to mind. I'm not even. This is not scripted. This is just off the cuff, if you will. So, what does Topps do? Again, do they try to go heavily into the NIL? I suspect they were going to do that anyway, right? So now that just gets ramped up. They have the NHL stickers. They have soccer still, wrestling, but this is a major blow. This is a boat. They're taking on some water here. If nothing changes, there's a human element to this, folks, as well, and I'm very sensitive to that. This is more than just cardboard and chrome. There's a human element to this. People may lose their job. People I know, maybe have had on this show, are going to be, out of work, or at least temporarily, until they land on their feet, hopefully somewhere else. Because if Topps loses these, Topps baseball is a major. You know this. I'm not breaking any news here. A major. What they do. It's their number one thing with candy, right? And it's going to affect their intake of income on so many levels. Montgomery, how's it affect Montgomery Club, right? Probably not going to be a Montgomery Club unless they do a soccer Montgomery Club, right? Or a wrestling Montgomery Club. Living set, they do it in soccer. I'm sure that will continue, but that's probably going to be the end of Topps Living Set. There's just so many wrinkles and layers to this. When I wrap this show up and get it out there, I'll probably remember something I forgot to talk about during this very show. So there's just so many ways and angles to look at this. And what does Topps do? Do they hope? Do they kind of present themselves to Fanatics like, hey, buy us, and let's keep together with you running the ship and driving the car. Let's keep that Topps name, out there. Fanatics, again, it just happened, but maybe there's a reason they haven't said what they're actually going to name the brand of cards. Maybe there's something going on behind the scenes we don't know about yet, right? Let's turn to Panini. Panini's got to be like, their knees knocking a little bit because they might lose everything. or potentially a lot. This thing is so, man, it's just hard to put into words how many tentacles this thing has. I just, in my mind, I see like an octopus, with 8 arms, and just so many tentacles that affect so many things. The only one, that it's not affecting is probably Upper Deck and the hockey stuff. Even Leaf or Onyx, where they do that NIL or the celebrity stuff. That's another thing. Topps probably just says, hey, let's, we have some celebrity reach. Let's go into that genre. So they might cringe upon Leaf. I don't know Brian Gray super well. He's been on the show. I've had some other minor conversations with him. Maybe this might be the time to sell Leaf or the Pro Set name and brand, right? Now's the time to strike while the iron's hot. There's just, I don't know. Let's be real. It's going to be very interesting. Whether you like what happened or you don't like what happened, the next few years. And that's the thing where, the Twitter broke when this news broke, right? Everyone's talking about, myself included. I'm not picking on anyone. I'm guilty as charged. But we forget this isn't going to happen right away. You're looking at least 2-3 years before we see the full effects and where the fallout is and how this all shakes out. We're not going to be able to keep up this social media pace every day for 2-3 years. So we'll sort of have some lulls. Stuff will come out. Maybe certain news breaks. But this is, the old New York saying, I like to say, it is what it is. And as shocking as it is, it's sort of par for the course in the current business landscape of the sports card hobby, industry, what have you. And so what's next, right? Talk about a crazy week with news. I'm so old. I remember you could go months in the hobby without any sort of major news breaking. You can't even go 1 or 2 days anymore. So what's next, right? And this is going to be a ripple effect, right? Or a wave effect, a tsunami rather than a ripple effect. There's things going to happen off of this. We see a lot of mergers and acquisitions, and there's stuff going on right now that just hasn't been announced yet. So we'll see. It's very interesting times, to say the least. I got a feeling I'm going to be probably doing some more shows along these lines. That's the if there's a silver lining for me and probably other content creators, quite frankly, if they're listening to this too, they know what I'm talking about, is there is no shortage of material to cover, right? I don't do a podcast necessarily every day. I do Hobby Quick Hits on Monday. I do, Sports Card Nation on Friday, and there's no shortage of material. Look, I had to move the episode I was planning to release today back a week, and that was big news in its own right with the PWCC eBay stuff. And now that gets pushed back a week. So this is unprecedented times as far as I'm concerned in the hobby. It's fun. It can be a little, menacing, scary if you're used to the old ways, but it's not going to deter me from enjoying the hobby. There's a lot of ways to enjoy the hobby, and we'll see. We'll see. Is someone asked me, could this potentially be better? I don't know, right? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Maybe they'll have better customer service. Maybe they change the game. Maybe they're innovative with things they've got planned. I got to think they got some plans. Again, if they're paying 10 times what the previous record was for this licensing deal, they better have a plan. Also, I forgot to announce this. Josh Luber, CEO of StockX, will be the CEO. I don't know if that's what they're officially calling the title, but he will lead the Sports Card Fanatics brand. I'll just say this: I'm not a fan of that. I'll kind of point to the Topps StockX collaboration from the last couple years. I thought it was drab and not innovative. I don't, can you point to, one or two releases and say that's what you're getting across the board? I wouldn't think that's fair. But he's not a card guy in the true sense of the word. Some people might say, John, that's a good thing. It's time to kind of think outside the box, think new. But I also think there's something to be said about people who've been in the hobby a while that know the hobby too, kind of steering that ship as well. So I guess that's a two-sided coin, depending on what side you fall on. So Josh Luber will take the reins of the new Fanatics card line, and it'll be interesting to see how this all continues the fallout. So stay tuned, I guess, right? Next week's Hobby Quick Hits will supposed to be the PWCC eBay thing, but who knows, right? Maybe it gets pushed back again with some more late breaking news. But thank you for spending some time with us today. And remember, no matter what, no matter if you feel bad about it, or glad about it, you can still hobby your choice, your way. You can pivot to do different things. I've really gotten heavy into the vintage things the last year and a half, 2 years. So that's not going to change for me. Those cards are made. Those cards can be bought and sold. Someone may even message me there, folks, and knowing I was getting more heavily onto the vintage end. And they're like, what do you think that does to that market? And again, all speculation, just an educated guess. I think it drives those prices up. When we talk about the hobby, right, in cards, right, there's a nostalgia element to it. And if people think, and if this is really the end for Topps and baseball cards, you don't get any more nostalgic than that when a brand doesn't exist anymore, right? And so we look back to all over the years and say, they don't make cards no more, but I can go back and get that 53 Mano, 54 Mano. I can get that Yaz, rookie, and and out of 60 Topps. I can get that 75 Brett and Yount. They can't take that away, right? When this story broke, I used a Braveheart meme, and I wrote out, right, they can never get our vintage. And it's true. I mean, it's funny. It's kind of a little poke at humor, but those cards are not acquired in the deal. They're made. They're already made to always be Topps. And so at the end of the day, and if you like vintage or you're getting into vintage, that option will always be there for you. All right, folks, we're gonna put a cap on this thing, and I don't know. Next time we talk, we'll see what else is on the horizon. Hope everyone is staying safe, being well, and we'll see you next time on Hobby Quick Hits.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
If you love scratchers from the Virginia Lottery, you'll love the High Roller Blackjack Scratcher with a chance to win up to 10 times your prize. Look for it at your favorite Virginia Lottery retailer. In fact, you can drive there right now. Now that's an everyday win. Odds of winning any prize, 1 in 4.16. Winning comes in all shapes and sizes. It's different for everyone. One thing is certain, every day there's an opportunity for a win. Just like scratchers from the Virginia Lottery. Everyday grab and go, everyday giftable, everyday fun. It's where anticipation meets instant gratification. Like the new Virginia Lottery Scratcher High Roller Blackjack with a chance to win up to 10 times your prize. Now, that's an everyday win. Drive to a retailer near you. Odds of winning any prize, 1 in 4.16.